Failing's a fact of life, but if you're somebody who's generally been pretty good at most of the things that you've tried, you're probably at a disadvantage here. The reality is that most people have probably had more practice at failing than you if you're good at most things that you try. Yet, failing is a really important part of the learning process. Hi, my name is April. I'm a therapist in Canada. If you're interested in learning more about my therapy practice, you can check out my link to my website in the description down below. How can you practice getting better at failing? Do things just for the process, not for the result. In the fall, I started doing clay crafts every Wednesday night, and I'm a relatively artistic person, so these things I tend to be able to pick up on, and I was looking forward to just doing something creative with my hands. But the point was that it had no purpose. There was nothing that I needed to create out of clay for any reason. It was just about the process. And so because I was doing something just for the sake of doing it and not for the, it's about the journey and not the destination, I was able to then take my time and enjoy that process and started looking at videos on how to work with clay and how to mix clay and doing all these different techniques, and it got me really excited each time because I wasn't so focused on the finished product that I was planning on making. It was just a process of discovery. Each time I learned a new skill, each time I learned a new technique, each time I learned about different types of clay. Like, I didn't even know what I was going to learn and discover, but it was like turning pages in a book. Each page uncovered something new, and that in itself was the joy and the pleasure. And I have to admit that I did, after like 3 weeks maybe, I was like, oh, this is going great. I'm gonna make Christmas presents out of clay for people this year, and immediately found a way to make a job for myself out of it. And I had to like reel myself back and be like, no, this is just an activity where I'm gonna practice just for the sake of doing it. And that way I made a lot of things that didn't go well, but it was okay because I didn't need them for anything. It wasn't like the time was wasted. It was just time that I had set aside for the purpose of just being creative. You can also seek and accept feedback that's given to you. This is another thing that can be really hard if you're somebody who enjoys the benefits of being really good at things naturally, or if you're somebody who is a high achiever, has high expectations for yourself, or maybe is a little bit of a perfectionist. I mean, it is something that I've avoided a lot in my life. I found it really hard when I was doing training, for example, as a social worker. You would learn the concept, and then you would watch somebody demonstrate the concept, and then you'd have somebody watch you demonstrate the concept. And I would do everything that I could at all costs to avoid having somebody watch me do something, because it made me so uncomfortable to be critiqued and to get that feedback. And now I'm like kicking myself, and I will take every opportunity I can get at this point in my life to get that kind of a feedback, because that kind of one-on-one direct attention, first of all, from somebody who's better at something than you, is so incredibly valuable. And most of the time it's free. It's free advice that somebody is looking directly at you and saying, let's just tweak this one thing. Here, I have another little pointer for you. Here's something that I noticed that didn't go so well, but here's something you can do instead. Like, how many times in your life do you have the opportunity to have somebody who's better at something than you are come in and help you get better at it? Personalized feedback. And yet getting that feedback for me felt like a failure. And this is why we need to practice doing things that we're not very good at, because why would we be good at it? Why would we be good at something or everything the first time that we try it? We only get good at it through getting that feedback, through getting that practice and those opportunities to go through the levels of being a beginner and then a novice and then intermediate and then an expert. Like, if you're going skiing, you don't just go down the double black diamonds first thing and expect yourself to just know what to do. Your body's not just going to be like, ooh, done, perfect, that was great. No, you need to learn how to do it step by step first. And so take the opportunity if there's somebody willing to give you free coaching, free feedback, and if they're not volunteering, ask people for feedback. And when you do ask people for feedback, don't just say, hey, do you have any feedback for me? Because a lot of the time people are busy thinking about other things and they're not actually like sitting there with ideas ready to go, waiting for you to just ask for them to share them. A lot of the time people need some more specific prompts. So one thing I've learned to do is say, hey, I'm trying to get better at skiing, and I'm finding that when I turn on my right leg, it's a lot harder to do a quick turn than it is when I turn on my left leg. Can you take a look at what I'm doing and let me know if you see anything that I might be doing wrong or that I can maybe improve on to make that turn go a little bit better? And it gives them something really specific to pay attention to. And this is kind of a funny metaphor because I don't even ski. So what if you do something that doesn't go the way that you expected it to, and it just feels so bad that you can't deal with it right now? This is what really inspired my video. A friend of mine was telling me about her partner doing some sort of project around the house, and when he tried to do one piece of it, it wouldn't work, and he got so frustrated and he had to go for a walk. And she was like, I just give him some space when that happens, and I know he'll come back to it and figure it out. And I was like, yeah, I know that feeling. And I feel this, like, I feel bad for the people around me who have been affected by me when I'm in that place, because I'm like, I was just going to hammer out this quick thing, no big deal, and then all of a sudden, before I know it, it's become not a quick thing, it is a big deal, and it's stolen time out of my day, and it's still not done yet. And so there's that expectation versus reality. It takes time to work with those, or let those emotions take their course. And so when my friend said that her partner took a walk, I thought, well, that's perfect, because we can't control how we feel, but we can control what we do about how we feel. And if we find ourselves in this situation where things are not going according to plan and we feel really shitty about it, then we still have this like bundle of emotions that we now are like, okay, well, I guess this is a new task that I need to work through. Lost my earring. There we go. So when my friend said that her partner went for a walk, I was like, that's perfect, because when I've found myself in positions where I'm trying to do something and it is supposed to just be a quick thing that I think I know that is gonna be done in a certain amount of time and with a certain amount of effort, and then all of a sudden it's requiring more from me, or it's gone worse and now it's actually like more tasks, one step forward, two steps back. It is not just about the task anymore. It becomes about this like balled up bundle of emotions that I have in response to what is unfolding in front of me. And so having that emotional response is completely normal and natural, and we're never going to be able to avoid that. So even knowing all of this about why it's hard to be good at failing is never going to prepare you to never feel that discomfort. Like, you're not going to be able to live your life that way. And so when we do feel discomfort, we need tools to handle that. And so walking away and taking a break and stepping back from the thing that isn't going well and then coming back to it fresh is one of the best and easiest ways to reset, regulate yourself, deal with this bundle of emotions, which has now become your new focus, your new task. And then once that task is addressed, you can let that take its course. It can dissipate and fade, and then come back and decide more objectively, with a more rational, wise mind, do I want to continue this thing that's not going well right now, or do I want to press the reset button and actually come back to it another time, or whatever that makes the most sense? Maybe call a friend, whatever you need to do in that moment, and going forward to continue through being the learner, being the beginner, being the not expert who doesn't get everything right, and that's okay. When we realize that we're feeling strong emotions or discomfort about something, and we regulate first and come back to it later, isn't a failure. It's Pacing. Emotional regulation is a superpower that sets successful people apart from people who just show up. If you look at people around you or people that you admire or people, famous people, wherever, in leadership roles, if you pay attention to how they handle themselves, it's likely that they do encounter difficult situations where they probably experience some discomfort. And it's not that they're never experiencing that discomfort, it's that they have this skill of emotional regulation. And it's incredible how far this can get you in life, because you will be able to navigate so many situations, more than just things not going according to plan. You'll be able to navigate the complexities of the social fabrics of society and things that are outside of your control. So this is a really wonderful lower stakes place to practice that, where you're just doing it for yourself and with yourself, and you can come back and address whatever the trigger, the task was. Do yourself and the people around you a favor and admit when things aren't going well. It's okay that things aren't going well, and until you can admit that they're not going well, it's going to be really hard to practice emotional regulation, to notice when you need to walk away, to enjoy things just for the process. And this goes back to the idea that it's hard to fail, or it's hard to do things that we're not good at, because it's tied to our identity. And so admitting failure, or admitting that something didn't go well, it can feel like it's a complete failure of ourselves and who we are, when in fact failure is just a one-time occurrence, and you can fail 99 times before getting to something the 100th time and succeeding, and then you go forward as if those failures didn't matter. But the failures were such an important part of the process. And so we need to rethink failure, and we need to rethink what it means to admit that that thing wasn't going well, it wasn't going according to plan, it wasn't going the way that we wanted it to. You don't have to fake that things are going well all the time. It's okay for things to be hard. And pride can make this really difficult, and having our identities tied up in being good at things can make this really difficult. But being able to recognize and name when something isn't going well is actually way more admirable than pretending that things are okay and not acknowledging a problem that exists right in front of you. And in fact, this ability to recognize when you're not good at something, or when something that you're working on isn't going well, is one of the most underrated employable skills ever. So remember this. It's okay to say that things aren't going well. It's more admirable to show wisdom and self-awareness and flexibility than to have unrealistic expectations for yourself. Keep pushing yourself. It wouldn't make sense to make a video about getting good at failing if we didn't talk about how you should keep trying new things. And I imagine that you want to continue to be good at things and doing things well. And one of the best ways to do that and to make larger leaps is to take bigger risks, which can mean things not going according to plan, or trying things that you're not as good at. But give it a try, and don't just do things that you're good at to avoid failure. If you found this video helpful, I post every 2 weeks on mindset and practical tools for high achievers to meet their goals. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing.